thank you for joining me today. This is Chloe from Happy, Healthy, and Homegrown, and today I'm going to show you how to make amazing cold brew coffee. I just finished making my cold brew, and this is just a little comparison. I bought 32 ounces of organic cold brew for $10, and then this is my organic cold brew I made at home, plus I already drank some of it, so there's probably about a fourth more in addition to that, so that's over 64 ounces, and I paid $10 for a really tasty one. So all in all, I got more than double, and it was very, very easy to make. I think I'm a huge fan of cold brew because it's so easy to make. Like when people brew coffee every single day, it's so time consuming, and that's why I never drink coffee, because it's too time consuming. Cold brew, I started drinking cold brew from the store already made. And then my husband said he wanted decaf because he doesn't drink any caffeine, so we couldn't find any decaf at the store, so we decided to buy a cold brew system for $40, which is pretty inexpensive. Here's the cold brew system that we bought. It's called Filtron. It's only $40. And I just made some cold brew at home, so I got 64 ounces plus a little more than that. It was so easy to make, and now I'm gonna have cold brew in my fridge for a good week or more, and I'm not going to have to brew coffee every day. So that's the reason I don't drink coffee, is because I just don't have time to make a pot of coffee every day. I like having cold brew in the fridge. Some other great things about cold brew are the low acidity. I will say about cold brew that I love the taste of it. I was hesitant for a while to try cold brew because I thought that it would have a kind of like dead coffee taste. You know, when coffee, you get a fresh cup of coffee and then it sits there for an hour and it has that kind of sour taste to it. The cold brew luckily does not have that. It's very smooth and it's lower acidity than regular coffee, and I actually am really impressed with how amazing cold brew tastes. And it's super concentrate, so what's great about that is I don't need to have an Americano or an espresso to add my raw milk to it. I use my concentrated cold brew, and I can add as much raw milk as I want without diluting the coffee taste. Like I made here 2 batches out of the same grinds and mixed them together, and it's very, very strong. You can dilute this with water and you can stretch it a lot further, but I dilute mine by adding lots of raw whole milk to it. Because the raw whole milk really helps my teeth, makes a huge difference, and we just love raw milk. It's just amazing superfood. You can watch some of my other videos to find out more about that. I highly recommend too that you spend the $40 on the system, because the biggest thing is you get this awesome filter and you don't get any grinds in your coffee. So now I'm going to show you how to make an easy home cold brew. And like I said, I have the Filtron system. So this is only $40. Here it is. This is what comes with it. This thing and a filter pad. And it's very easy to use. This is where your coffee grinds are going to get brewed. And that's going to sit there for 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours, whatever kind of falls in between there when you have the time to drain it. And then this is going to be the water pot that goes on top to drain the water into it. So it just has a tiny little pinhole in it for the water to go in slowly into your grinds. And then this coffee filter comes, when you get it, it's white, and you just rinse it a couple times. Just rinse water through it. You don't ever want to put detergent on it. And then you're going to take this piece right here that your coffee grinds are going to sit in, and when you get it new, you attach this handle to it. It just slips right in, and then in the bottom there is the hole where your coffee is going to drain out into this thing when you're done. So when you're completely finished, you'll pull the plug out and you'll drain your coffee by sitting it on top of this. Now that's just kind of the tricky part. You just go over the sink and you pull the plug and quickly put it over this. I didn't really actually even lose any of my coffee when I've done it, but it is a good idea to be over sink in case it drips a little so you don't make a mess. And then you just let it sit there and the coffee will drain through after your 24 hours are up. Alright, so first of all, take our Filtron coffee thing and you stick this in with the little pull handle side up, and it will kind of have a little bit of a bump in the middle like that. And then you just press it in right here, Press, press, press. I'm going to press it all the way in. And so that's what's going to ensure that you don't have any coffee grinds in your cold brew. And when you get it all the way pressed in, and don't forget the plug on the bottom, you just kind of wiggle it back and forth a little till it's nice and snug in there. And the plug will push up a tiny bit right here on this middle part, so you'll have just a slight bump in the middle. But for the most part, it's pretty flat, so that's how it looks. So the Filtron coffee system comes with 2 of these giant ones, and then you can buy more refills. Honestly, I think you can do it just fine without this, but it just makes for easier cleanup if you want to just dump it all into the trash and not have much of it go down your garbage disposal when you're rinsing it out. So with or without the giant coffee filter, either way, and that just sits in here nicely on the bottom, like that. Just like a regular coffee pot. So I got my 1 pound of organic cold brew organic coffee right here that I'm going to use. And it smells amazing. So all I'm going to do right now is just dump this whole pound of coffee right in here. You can see I'm dumping my coffee in. I might have got more than a pound here. Smidge over. So when you get your coffee at the store and you're grinding it, you want to do a coarse grind on your coffee beans, not a fine grind or any such thing. My coffee grinds in the filter, and then I'm just going to stick this thing on top to kind of help push the coffee filter out so it doesn't collapse on itself. That's how that thing looks, just kind of on top to hold the filter in place. And then once you've brewed your first batch and you have drained it, what you want to do then is do about half full of water and do a second round of water through those coffee grinds and wait another 12 to 24 hours. And then you'll have another slightly weaker but still very strong and concentrated coffee, and you'll be able to get a good over half a gallon of coffee out of it. That's very concentrated. So that's a really good deal for your money, and it still tastes amazing. And it's very simple. Now I'm just going to go over to the water with my finger covering this little plug, and I'm going to fill up to my fill lines. So here on the top you'll see a little line that says 1 pound and one that says 3/4 pounds. So I'm going to fill with purified, clean, amazing water. I'm going to fill it up to that second line. Filling this up with water. Got my finger over the hole on the bottom. Okay, so I have my water. So I have my water filled up to the 1 pound line, which is pretty full. And now I'm just going to set it gently on top, and it has little kind of pieces around the edge that fit with it. And as you see, a really tiny little stream of water will come out when I let my finger off the little hole in the middle. So I'm just going to, there's a plug in the bottom of that one, so the water's not going to go anywhere. And then you just set that water pot down on top, and there is your cold brew coffee. And the water's going to all drain into your coffee, and then you're just going to set it there for 24 hours at the most. And when you get done, like I said, you'll just pull that little white plug in the bottom there. Boop. And you'll put it over top of this, boop, and then all the coffee will drain into this little container. And if you're going to make a second batch, which I highly recommend, just dump this extra coffee into a glass jar, and then you'll be able to use it the next time you need it. And it's better to store your coffee in a glass jar anyway, because this brew system is not glass, it's plastic, and even this is not glass, it's a hard plastic. Hard plastic is better than soft plastic, less stuff that's leaching, but ideally store it in a glass mason jar. And there's my cold brew coffee getting ready to brew. So here's the container that it comes with to store your filter in, and then there's also a lid for this if you want to store your coffee in the fridge in that thing. Okay, my coffee has finished brewing for 24 hours. Now I'm going to show you how to drain it. So you have this thing ready, And you might want to set it down right here in the sink. And then here's the coffee. And I'm going to pull the white plug out of the bottom and just set this right on top of my pitcher to catch it. So this is the tricky part. You want to kind of twist it back and forth to unplug it. And there it comes, straight over the filtron system. And then you just set it down there and it nests right into the bottle. So it's got a little lip right there to nest it right in, so it's super easy to pour it. And you just set it there and let it finish filling it up. As you can see, it may take up to 45 minutes for every last little drop to get out, so just go do something else for a little while and come back when it's done. And then since these are fresh coffee ground beans, I'm going to start a new batch with them and use them twice, and then I'll throw them out. So as soon as this is done, all I'm going to do is add some more water up here and brew these coffee grinds for a second round. So that's it, that's all it takes, and you have some fresh cold brew for pennies on the dollar for what you spend at the store for cold brew. Much smoother taste, save a lot of time and convenience. So when the two batches are mixed together, I had more than 64 ounces, as you can see here, and it's very concentrate, so you can add it to water or milk. And I actually found the flavor of my homemade cold brew to be even better than the store-bought. It's more smooth, very fresh tasting, and has a very rich coffee taste. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, and thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.